Hey, I want to talk to you today about sudden stop injuries or even just impacts, and it's how so important how these can have huge impacts on your health. If it's you or your child or a loved one. If it's a small slip on the ice, you may have no pain, or a small ski wreck where you have a sudden stop, or even a minor fender bender. These can have huge implications of your health. That's not even to talk about more of a major impact. So this is a study that's looking at the Journal of the Neurosurgery and Psychiatry, kind of an interesting journal. And they measured the effects of flexion, which is moving the head forward, and extension, moving the head back, movements of the spine and the head and the spinal cord and the nerve root. So if you think about your spinal cord, it's kind of like if you have a lamp that you're going to plug into the wall and you've got a cord going to that lamp, you've got an outer covering that's maybe plastic or rubber, and that inner spinal cord, that's something called the dura mater. It's the outer covering that protects your spinal cord. And then inside you have your spinal cord itself, which is a huge bundle of nerves that is our lifeline, that carries communication from our brain out to our heart, to our lungs, and every part of our body. So just like that cord going to the lamp, if you cut it open, you'd see a bunch of wires running through there. That's kind of what it's like in our spinal cord, okay? So they measure these effects, and what they found is that when you go forward, you bend your head forward, it puts pressure on the anterior part of the dura mater and the spinal cord. Think of that wire, the front part of it, 30 to 40 pounds per square inch. Now, Dr. Sue at the University of Colorado did a study showing that it takes 6 times less pressure to affect the spinal cord nerves than it does what's called our peripheral nerves. So if I go and squeeze your arm, I have to squeeze pretty hard for it to hurt. It's 6 times less to start to create an effect on the nerves, your spinal cord and spinal roots. That means these nerves, again, are going to your heart, to your lungs, and every different part of your body, communicating. Just like that cord going to the lamp, you can't light that lamp up unless it's plugged into that outlet, right? Our heart, our lungs, our body can't work unless it's getting communication from our brain. So this is what's important about this. If you know, and I don't really understand exactly how hydraulics work, but if you've got, especially these big machinery, they use hydraulics, and they use fluid inside these hoses to move these big, huge parts. But if you think about it this way, if you take even just a squirt gun, it takes a larger compartment, and then you squeeze it into a smaller compartment, it shoots the water out very fast, okay? So why is this important in terms of injuries and impact? Well, if we look at our spinal cord, it's actually surrounded by fluid. So you've got, think about that wire again going to the lamp. If you fill the in part of that in fluid, that's what our spinal cord is like. It's floating in fluid. So now, if you get a sudden stop injury, you slip on the ice and your head gets whipped, or you're skiing and you get a sudden stop, or even a minor car accident where you get whipped, that compresses that fluid very quickly. And again, we said 30 to 40 pounds of pressure just by pushing your head forward. Well, again, if we do it very fast, it's going to create this dynamic pressure and probably puts pressure on the brainstem and the brain. And now you can have damage to those areas that might not show up until years later. It can create shoulder pain or these musculoskeletal pains in different areas because damage to those nerve and those nerve roots. Not to mention that you mysteriously have, heart disease show up 5 or 10 years later because it's choking nerve going to your heart. Or start having these mystery diseases that just come out of the blue. Now, I'm not saying everything is related to those impacts, but again, probably most of us have had those things. I think about all the bike wrecks and ski wrecks as I had as a kid. I didn't have any pain at the time. But when I got into my early 20s and I started sitting in college, and then I sat for 4 years in chiropractic school, or 3.5 years year round. So basically 8 years of school, and where I'm sitting, all of a sudden I started getting this chronic neck pain. I don't think it was caused by school. I think that's what made it show up. And then I started developing along with that all these immune system issues and health issues that I didn't think were related to the spine. When I finally started getting my spine adjusted, all those things went away that I've been working on for years and couldn't solve. So the important part about this is if you have somebody that you know that's not getting chiropractic care, especially if they have a small slip on the ice or a car accident or a fall, or if it's you, even if you're getting regular chiropractic care, but you got adjusted on Monday and then Tuesday you had a slip on the ice or a ski wreck, I would not wait until the whole next week. I would get right back in and get checked right away to get that pressure off those nerves as soon as possible, or at least to find out if there's pressure in the nerves. It doesn't mean every single injury causes pressure in the nerves, but a lot of those things do. So understand how much that can impact your health, not only short-term or long-term. And if you know anybody, especially if they were in a car accident 5 or 10 or 15 years ago, that could be a result of some of the health issues they're having today. Get them into our office and we'll get them checked right away and give them great care.